Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. Squirrel Girl is on our topic for today. Now I've seen a few people put on the spotlight stuff like the synergy seem more appetizing for them as opposed to the other things, like saying right, well there's something good there for Luke Cage. To a degree, there's something good for Sentinel. There's something good as well for all of the champions in the list here, in particular MCOC. Now that does excite me a little bit because I'm thinking about maybe using MCOC a lot more, and as well Dr. Doom, increasing that aura of Hazarath for an additional 2 seconds can be quite helpful, but I'll probably talk about that in another video because I do want to keep this as kind of brief as possible, just to kind of overlook this champion. Obviously the main question is, does the champion need to be awakened to be good? I don't know, I kind of feel like it makes the champion better. Well, obviously all champions are made better by awakened ability, but I kind of feel that it is a great champion to have if you're going from battle to battle and starting a fight off with 40 hits. Kind of gets you quickly into the whole aspect of damage dealing, as opposed to having to ramp up combos and hits. And yeah, the combo meter is important and taking combos from battle to battle. Not like Aegon. This is not like Aegon one little bit. Aegon is absolutely up there as being the super god tier. And this champion does some good damage output, but it is a case you've got to work hard for it. And for those that don't really care too much about going any more into or understanding more about the champion, in a nutshell, God, I'm going to have to stop doing that, but in a nutshell, it's a case of build up to SP3, build up your combos, and then it's a case of doing a heavy attack, parry, heavy attack, and then what you're doing is you're sending Tippy out, and then it's a case you're then drawing Tippy back in again. So there's a difference between Tippy being on the opponent and Tippy being with you, Squirrel Girl. So it's a case what you want to do is have it, send it out, then bring it back in again. And especially when you do stuff like the heavy attack and as well, but the main thing being yes, the heavy attack, you put the debuff damage on of the bleed. Then if you've got 40 combos and you're putting on 40 onto the enemy, so basically there'll be a Tippy thing with 40 by it. You inflict an instant bleed, dealing a burst of 871 direct damage for every bleed debuff on the opponent, removing all bleed debuffs. So you want to ramp up your bleed damage, then you want to do a heavy attack or parry heavy attack, and then it sends out Tippy. You then take back Tippy, and then it's a case you can either build up your bleeds again and then send out Tippy again. It depends how you want to play it, and that's completely up to you, because that's the damage side of things, but there's also more when it comes to trying to utilize the kit of the champion. Also, something just to mention, different CCP members will run different types of masteries, so you'll see different types of damage being dealt. And do bear in mind, suicide masteries would obviously give you a bit more damage than most, and there is a way that that kind of interacts with the champion, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Just quickly to let you know, building up bleed debuffs, and again, let's reiterate, the fact is you want to build up as many bleed debuffs as possible, is just by doing a medium based attack. There are other ways of building it up, but that is one of the main ways off of the basic hits to actually ramp them up. Also, look out for things with hitting off a critical attack. You will get some nice little damage from that. And as I say, personal bleed debuffs inflicted with a critical hit become a critical bleed, multiplying their potency by the critical damage multiplier and lasting for 12 seconds. Very important, especially when we're talking about this idea of keeping bleed damage on the enemy. Okay, let's move on to kit, and the kit is very important, especially from the SP1. And as you can see here, inflict a distraction debuff, preventing an evade and auto block abilities. Now that is in itself incredibly important, going against certain champions like MCOC, like your Medusa, like any of the Spider-Men that have got aspects of evade within them. This champion is going to be quite good for those situations. I'm not going to say that okay, it's the best champion for it, but it's just going to be more useful for situations like those, and especially if you're looking for a cheese method to get through the enemy. That is definitely one of them. Also, do look out for stuff like the last hit increases Squirrel Girl's combo meter by 10 hits. So that is helpful, again, depending on how you play the champion. Are you going to build up to the SP3 side of things, where you're able to gather a lot more of on the combo meter? Or are you going to be one of those that likes just smashing in the L1 and L2s and kind of maximizing the kit by that means in order to build up those combos to send out Tippy and bring back Tippy as well? Those have to be your decisions of how you want to play that champion. And again, sending and bringing back Tippy is very important, especially when it comes to purifying all non-damage debuff effects on Squirrel Girl and gaining block proficiency. By keeping that lovely little Tippy on you, that is going to be helpful, again, going up against certain situations where you need to purify, shrug off, whatever you want to call it, those non-damaging debuff effects. And let's face it, at times you go against certain champions where they're having those kind of debuff effects on you. It's going to be quite a problem. But also something to mention as well, as we've seen with Abyss of Legends over the last 24 hours, there has been some real kind of like, well, does this point to usage with Squirrel Girl? Especially when we're talking about the idea of what that SP1 does. And that could be an option for people to use. People may go like, right, well, this champion won't be class advantage. Maybe I can use this champion a little bit in order to get around that evade, or maybe I can use it as class advantage and really use that evade side of things, or preventing that evade. Will it be something that those brands of Abyss could have interaction around, and could it not nullify, but could it reduce down that? The same way that you have other champions that have evade failed, you know, those kind of things. Could it be an option? Maybe. This then brings me back to the start point of this abilities and talking about the awakened abilities. Now, as you can see for the SP3, it says if Tippy inflicts an instant bleed with this attack, there's a 30% chance for each bleed debuff to be refreshed instead of being removed, which is really important. But you have to try and hope, and that's the thing, hope that that 30% rings true. Especially if you come out of the SP3 prior to that, you had, I don't know, let's just say you had 15 on there and it kind of like fails to work. You know what I mean? That's the case. It's not really too great, and especially when you look at the signature ability side of things, when again it's all about kind of keeping the extent of amounts of bleed, the volume of bleeds, rather than the ticking of damage. So, you know, again, you want to keep it high, you want to keep it above 15, you want to keep it close to 20, because you want to put out a good amount when it comes to that number, and that's going to be one of the most important things, with the signature ability being all about that 70%, which, let's face it, when you first off get this champion, I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to any decent percentage, and I'll probably even say that it's going to be, at a guess, maybe something like 5%, maybe 10%, but that's going to be your choice whether or not you want to invest a load of signature stones into it, and as well starting off the fight with that 40 hits to then send Tippy out, which, let's face it, is going to give you a little bit of a fighting edge, more so for questing than big hit pool based fights that you may do in your MCOC career. Obviously, if you've watched some of my videos in the past, you'll know that Squirrel Girl was the nanny of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, so it's going to be kind of cool to go like, okay, well, I'll use Luke Cage in this, and that is actually a great fighting option. I would probably say if you want to run anything with this champion, whether or not unawakened or awakened, and still want to do a good amount of damage, then you're really going to need Luke Cage in the team. The other ones are fine, like you get an improved attack rating with using Deadpool. You've also got stuff with Sentinel that's going to be sort of helpful, but not completely. And then you've got other things as well, like Beat Up the Universe. When Tippy Toe, I hate saying that. It sounds like so kind of like not cringy. And my content is cringy, but it's so weird. It's like very kid-like, isn't it? Say Tippy Toe. When Tippy Toe would purify all non-damaging debuff effects, and Squirrel Girl also purifies one damaging debuff. So that's where it extends out more. So you're for like, okay, well, if it's non-damaging, that's fine. But like going up against a champion like Scarlet Witch, and you know you've got poison coming in, but you also got stuff like heal block, armor break. I think it's armor break. Weakness. That's weakness. Sorry, weakness. When you got those, then having that extra aspect to the kit of having Doctor Doom in with that team means that you're able to kind of like take on that and as well, yes, purify that that damaging debuff. Obviously, you've got to do it as quickly as possible because you only get one shot to purify one damaging debuff. And again, finally, in a nutshell, I've really got to kind of rate this champion. I think that Squirrel Girl is really cool. There are things that you may kind of go, well, this isn't for me. With most kind of new champions being put in to kind of ramp up damage, you've got to work hard for it. With Silver Surfer being the last champion added into the game, this one being the first one for January, again, same thing reigns true. You've got to work hard for your damage. You've got to build your combos up. You've got to smash out with Tippy Toe. You've got to bring Tippy Toe back. and then you've got to repeat the method, build up your combos, again repeat the method, build up your bleeds on enemies, and then you should be having a blast. And I did have a blast using this champion, and yeah, I tried out a few synergies. Heimdall synergy I tried out a little bit with, some of the synergies that come with the champion, tried that out a bit as well. Yeah, fun and enjoyable, can't say anything more. It's up to you whether or not you feel that this champion is a god tier, without us MCC YouTubers going, this is a god tier. Make your own kind of assumptions based on what you see, and also when you get the champion for yourself in later weeks, months, or maybe even years. In any case, that has been the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching this, and if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, check out some other content on the screen at the moment, and have your say in the comment section how you feel about this champion, whether or not you consider it to be a god tier based champion. Do you think it's like a bit less than a god tier? What do you and how do you rate this? Are there certain aspects that you'd like to see? I'm probably going to do a video with the synergies with Dr. Doom. I kind of like to do a synergies based video for this and just kind of rate them and kind of see which ones are going to be like fun. But I definitely think that the increase of Aura of Hazarath is something that I would like to kind of get from this. So maybe like a 4-star, maybe even a 5-star version at a later date I'll go for. In any case, thanks again for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye for now.